Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about RAZAAK versus MAUL. The reason for this video is I was doing some testing. This is the test server, just to confirm. I don't have all of these heroes. It is purely a test bed for content creators so that we can get a better idea of heroes and mechanics. Anyway, the purpose of this video is to talk about RAZAAK versus MAUL. I was testing their damage types recently because on the Forerunner server, the long-held opinion, and one that I personally believed for a long time as well, was that RAZAAK was effectively just an upgraded MAUL. However, over the months I did hear some concerning things, such as RAZAAK not being particularly good in Gear Raid 1. But I knew from my experience that MAUL is actually pretty good in Gear Raid 1. I've had some good success using him when I've done epic-only teams in the past, and MAUL was very good. So I didn't understand why people were not having the same joy with RAZAAK. I mean, after all, if we compare them at a glance, their base stats, well, the ultimate from RAZAAK is 1000% damage. Whereas if we look at it for MAUL, it is 900% damage. Sure, if you look at the rage cap, MAUL's is at 500, which is very low, whereas RAZAAK's is 800, though this is at max skill ups. I think it's best to compare them at max skill ups, but it is a 100% more modifier on RAZAAK than on MAUL. You think, well, that's not a massive difference, but we can look at the base stats of the heroes. 4000 base attack on a RAZAAK, and an A5 MAUL, which I think is fair to compare, is 3000 base attack. So RAZAAK has a third more attack than MAUL does, 1000 more. That is substantial. That's going to be scaling on all of the attack bonus gear he gets. That'll be scaling on the crit damage ultimately, and it should lead to a much stronger ultimate. And then you factor in the fact that it's another 100% damage on top in his ultimate. So why is he dealing less damage? And he is actually dealing less damage in some scenarios. So that is the premise for the video. We're going to get into it. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to be using the exact same gear sets, and we'll be comparing just the ultimate, because that's really what you use these characters for. So this is the gear I'm going to use to test with. I'll use it on both of the heroes. It is a Calamity set and a Broken set on the right. Mainly just attack bonuses on the main set, and then crit rate on the substats. Some crit damage, not a great deal. It's mainly just a full-on attack set. So the purpose for this is I don't really want too many variables, so I don't want to have any sets that might conflict and change the way things are calculated. Likewise, I'm not going to use an artifact for these tests. I'm just going to go off of the base damage from their ultimates when they crit, so I do need 100% crit rate as I have here. So that's it. I'm going to do the test first with RAZAAK. We'll just do a naked run, no power of dominance, stage 18 of Gear Raid 1. So here we go, we're loading into stage 18, no power of dominance, purely RAZAAK by himself, no lords or other bonuses. And we'll place him down here first. And his ult comes up really nice the first time he gets placed because he has most of his rage cap on start. So we're not going to even attack, we're going to try to just ultimate. We just want to see his base damage from his ult. And there we go, his ult is casting. Takes a long time to cast. And the damage was 16.7 thousand. So we're going to do it once more just to be safe. So we cast it again. Massive channel. And okay, it's about 6.6 thousand rather. 6.6 thousand damage. So just for the sake of showing you where the damage difference is going to come, and you'll see what I mean in a second, we're going to let it play out and we'll fire a second ultimate. So here we are, we have the second ult up now. It took a little bit long. And the damage is 16.6 thousand once again. Okay, so that's the number you need to keep in mind. I'll put it on the screen. So now we have MAUL. I've moved all the gear over so you can see my other RAZAAK is now completely naked. So he's in the set from RAZAAK. He has maxed crit rate. You can see he has max skills, and you can see he has no artifact. So exactly the same parameters. So from MAUL's Awakenings, he is A5. He gets his freeze. He gets some crit rate for gearing. His Salt Erosion passive throw now inflicts slow. He does gain 5% penetration, which is nice, and he has 5 less cost. So the only thing affecting his damage is 5% penetration. If we're comparing two heroes and we want to min-max damage, then I think an epic hero should be assumed to be Awakened 5. That makes sense. Legendaries will be unawakened the majority of the time unless you're spending a lot of money or you're lucky. So I think it's a fair comparison, an A0 legendary versus an A5 epic. Back into stage 18. Just MAUL by himself. Again, no power of dominance. Stage 18, Gear Raid 1. Now the only problem is MAUL starts with no rage. So instead I'm going to go back and I'm going to use a Laurel just to get his ult up immediately. I want to fire his ult without him touching a single enemy because it is important to the point I'm going to make and explain as to why the damage is so different. So we can bring Laurel. Laurel is not going to impact a great deal. She won't be down, so she won't be giving him the attack bonus, the damage bonus. So there we go. We place MAUL, we place Laurel, we despawn Laurel. MAUL gains half of his rage. So now she's not down, she's not going to be affecting anything else with the numbers. So there we go. And we're going to ult immediately. 11.8 thousand, right? So we saw 11.8 thousand. That is 4.8 thousand damage less than RAZAAK was doing. So you're thinking, well, RAZAAK is clearly stronger. He did much more damage, right? So now this time we're going to compare them, but using a Dolores boost, as that's pretty much how any of these teams are going to function. You're going to use a Dolores alongside any of your AoE damage dealers, especially someone like MAUL. You really want to use him in conjunction with a Dolores. So we're going to ult with Dolores, and before he can throw an attack, we'll ult now. And he did 18.1 thousand damage, right? So he gained something like 7,000 damage. So we'll do that once more. We'll have MAUL down. I just really want to make this apparent because I'm doubting myself as well. Bear with me. Apologies for the delay, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So with a Dolores down, MAUL deals, what was it? MAUL deals, was it 18.1k damage? So here we go. He ults 18.1k, right? So that's fine. Now we're going to restart and we're going to do something different, and you're going to see a very different number. Okay, so we're coming up to the range, and this time I'm not going to ult just yet with MAUL. So watch this. He attacks once. He loads his spear, he attacks again, and he slows them with his special ability. Now I ult. 42.2 thousand damage. So I want to do that once more just so we have another reference. Okay, so they're coming back into range. We let the first attack happen. If you watch his second attack, he loads because his passive comes up. So now he hits them. They're slowed. You can see the little particles around them. I ult now. 42.2 thousand damage, right? So him making his basic attack, applying his slow, changed the damage from, was it 18.2 thousand to 42,000 damage? So you might be thinking, well, hold on. Well, what about RAZAAK? Just to quickly explain what it is. MAUL applies a defense break. It sounds so simple, but it's actually one of the only AoE defense breaks in the game, especially at the epic level. So that slow effect we saw applying is Salt Erosion. It has a 20-second cooldown, and it applies a 10-second debuff that decreases defense by only 15%. That was it. The difference between dealing 18,000 and 42,000 damage while Dolores boosted was 15% defense break. That was all there was to it. That's ridiculous. That's more than doubling the damage simply because of the defense break. That's all there was to it. So we saw that MAUL was dealing 11.8 thousand with his ultimate, 18.1 thousand with his ultimate and Dolores, and 42,000 with his ultimate, Dolores, and his passive Salt Erosion applied. His Salt Erosion has a 50% uptime, by the way, so you can really rely on timing this to get that every time. So now we'll do the same with RAZAAK. I probably should have done this at the start. So RAZAAK is now back in MAUL's gear. Again, we can confirm by just taking a quick look at MAUL, and So now my RAZAAK is back in MAUL's gear. We can confirm by just taking a look at MAUL, and you can see he is naked. Once again, the same lineup. I have two RAZAAKs. This one with no artifact, max skill, and no awakenings. That is the same build again. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do what we just did with MAUL. So we're going to do stage 18, no power of dominance, with a Dolores boost. And you'll see the damage numbers are not competing with MAUL. So we put RAZAAK down, we put a Dolores down. Just pop a Laurel just to make sure that everyone is up in time. And okay, here we go. So the enemies are coming up into range. I'll ult with Dolores. And just about now we can start to ult with RAZAAK. So watch this. He is boosted by Dolores. 39.3 thousand damage. So he lost to MAUL. I know you're probably thinking, well, hold on. He lost to MAUL, but the loss was what? MAUL did 42,000 damage and RAZAAK did 39,000 damage. Is that really much of a big deal? Well, now I'm going to give them a different gear, but we'll use both of them at the same time, and you'll see why I think it is actually quite a big deal. Okay, so my MAUL is in some gear now. You can see he has 0% rage regen, and you can see my RAZAAK is in some gear. Again, 0% rage regen. There is a bit of a difference on attack speed, but not enough to be significant. And now this time we'll bring all three of them. So we'll bring all of these heroes together. So their ults aren't up in time, and I don't quite have the cost. So RAZAAK's going to get a few free swings in. That's fine. So we're going to ignore the damage for this one because MAUL is going to be defense breaking. We're just going to go off of the ults. Look how much quicker MAUL's ult fires. So that's a good second, 2 seconds. I'd say around two or more seconds that MAUL's fires faster, which I find really helpful, really beneficial in Gear Raid 3 especially. But we are firing them as soon as they can. And you'll notice that MAUL's is coming up significantly faster. We are now able to fire again. We're freezing everyone again. He is applying the defense breaks. and RAZAAK is still waiting to fire his for the second time. So by the time RAZAAK fires his again, we're over 60% of the way through getting MAULs up. So yeah, I think personally, I think that's a big deal. I've been kind of trying to show you the numbers and give you the concrete examples up front, but overall for me it comes down to the fact that MAUL is just more reliable at applying his ultimate. It comes up a lot faster, and for the scenarios where you use these two heroes, most of the time you're going to use them with a Dolores. If you're using them in Gear Raid 1 or Gear Raid 2, they will have a Dolores guaranteed. Otherwise, they won't deal enough damage if you're using them for the final stages, the strategies and the later waves where you really do need to maximize damage. If you are able to use them together for whatever reason, you'll see RAZAAK will absolutely crush MAUL. However, if you're using them in Gear Raid 3, I think RAZAAK wins, honestly. It depends. So there's enough time between waves that both of them will have their ultimates up. This is assuming you're using them on the left side in 19+, or if you're using them in 18 and lower, using one of them on either side, I guess you could use both. They will both have their ultimates up in enough time, and they will both deal more than enough damage to one-shot the waves in good gear. So they're both actually perfectly fine to use in this scenario, and you're also very unlikely to be Dolores boosting them in this scenario. So for the purpose of Gear Raid 3, I think RAZAAK is probably better. Yes, MAUL does apply more slows, he does apply freezes, but if you're using them on the wings, which in my opinion is the main use for them, you should be aiming to one-shot the waves, not freeze them, not slow them. You want to kill them outright. So RAZAAK has better damage by himself without having a booster. So you may be wondering, well, why does MAUL out-damage RAZAAK with a Dolores when the same gear, the same heroes deal a different result? RAZAAK is winning without a Dolores, MAUL is losing. With a Dolores, MAUL is winning. So our RAZAAK is once again ungeared. Our MAUL is back in the same set we did the initial testing with. And yeah, I should have done this at the start of the video, but what we're going to do is the exact same thing again. No Dolores this time. We're just going to ult with MAUL with his passive defense breakup. So just to remind you of the numbers, MAUL previously did 11.8 thousand damage with just his ultimate and nothing else. He did 18.1 thousand damage with Dolores, and he did 42,000 damage with Dolores, his ult, and the passive from his defense break. So this time we'll have his defense break, but we won't have Dolores, and you'll see something kind of strange, and this is really the crux of where this stuff gets weird. So look now, we're applying the defense break right there, we ult, and it's 11.8 thousand again. He didn't gain any damage from the defense break. Doesn't make sense, right? Previously, that was changing everything. That was making him do massively more damage. That was the difference between 18,000 and 42,000 damage. But now it means nothing. As soon as Dolores is gone, it doesn't mean anything for some reason. So look, here we go again, just to show you. This is the throw that applies the defense break. Once again, we ult. 11.8 thousand damage. So let's restart this. And this time, we're going to ult before he makes his attack, before he applies the defense break. So there we go. 11.8 thousand damage. Nothing changed. The defense break doesn't make a difference without Dolores. So you might be thinking, oh, what the hell? Why is that the case? Why does his defense break only matter when Dolores is involved? Well, it's back to my video from some months ago regarding attack and crit damage, unfortunately. I believe, I'm more than happy for someone to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty confident. The difference is that now we have the attack boost from Dolores. More of it is being mitigated by the defense, so we need the defense break to overcome the defense. So now if we ult, and we ult with MAUL before he applies defense break, 18.1 thousand, right? So we gain 7,000 damage. Once again, I just really want to drill it home, just because I'm sure some people are going to challenge this. I just want to give you the data, and then if you still disagree, that's fair enough, but I just want to really show the data, or show the results rather. So again, now we can ult with Dolores, but we're going to wait for the defense break from this attack. So the test we just did was 18.1. It was 11.8 with just his ult, 11.8 with his ult and his defense break, 18.1 with his ult and a Dolores boost, and now it is his ult, Dolores boost, and we just applied the defense break, and we're now back up to 42,000 damage again. It's a bit odd, right? So yeah, all I can assume is that the attack boost from Dolores is being mitigated a lot for some reason, and the defense break is overwhelming it to such a degree that he deals so much damage. I still don't fully get the defense calculation. All I know is that attack is super important, but so is defense break. The higher your attack, the more important breaking their defense is. I need to spend some time to figure out the exact formula, but yeah, it's just a bit funky, right? So I've kind of gone into this a lot this video, so I apologize for dragging it out, but hopefully it's informative, it's interesting. So I'm going to do one final thing I want to show you, just because I think it will be kind of fun. Our RAZAAK is back in MAUL's gear. MAUL is naked once more. So we can apply our MAUL at the top over there. We can get rid of the Laurel to give his ult back faster. And now we can place down RAZAAK. RAZAAK will get his ult faster. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to wait for MAUL to apply his break, which he just is now. So they're all slowed. 10 seconds it lasts, and now we're firing off the ult from RAZAAK. And it does 16.5k damage. So that's not great, right? 16.5k. We're expecting a bit better than that. If you remember, that is the exact same damage that our RAZAAK was doing in the initial tests with his ultimate without a defense break. So with a defense break, once again, it changed basically nothing. So we're going to wait for him to do his splash. I think he just did it there. Yeah. So now we're going to ult with Dolores. Instead of 16.5, it is 83,000 damage. 83k for having the defense break plus a Dolores. I'll show Dolores' stats at the end. I realized I have missed that case, so I'll show you that at the end of the video or after this test. And just again to refresh the damage of a RAZAAK plus a Dolores, we'll do that right now. So we'll ult with a Dolores. The attacks from RAZAAK don't matter. It won't change the damage outcome. So instead of 83k, we have, I think it was 39.3. Yeah, 39.3k damage. So there you have it. It's about 16.5k damage in this gear on RAZAAK with his ultimate, and with his ultimate plus MAUL's 15% defense break in AoE. It is 39.3k if we use RAZAAK plus Dolores, and it is 83k damage with defense break and Dolores. So basically you really want a defense break with Dolores is kind of the result I'm getting from this. But I guess the initial point of this video, I've kind of gone off a bit, was to compare the two, RAZAAK versus MAUL. And I think in this scenario where you're using them in conjunction with a Dolores, I think I prefer MAUL. The main reason being that he applies a defense break, which is needed to take advantage of Dolores' attack boost. Additionally, MAUL's defense break will be helping any non-magic damage allies, so it helps the team out a bit more. You are using them both for their burst damage, but if you have a way somehow of applying a AoE defense break, then RAZAAK is going to be significantly better. He was doing almost double the damage that MAUL was. However, if you were just doing a Gear Raid 1 run and you were using either RAZAAK with Dolores or MAUL with Dolores, your RAZAAK would be doing 39,000 damage and your MAUL would be doing 42,000 damage. However, your MAUL would be ultimating like 50% faster, maybe a bit more than that, 60% more often than your RAZAAK would be. So in that scenario, MAUL would actually win out over RAZAAK. Additionally, he would be defense breaking for allies, and he would actually be applying slows and freezes, which would help your curse team if you're using them in Gear Raid 1. I know this is like a really specific test. I just thought it was kind of fascinating because I've seen people say, why is RAZAAK not doing damage? I expected him to be really good. It's because if you're using him with a Dolores and you're comparing it to a MAUL with a Dolores, the defense break from MAUL is making a massive difference. Anyway, I've kind of gone on a long tangent. I just find it kind of cool. So I hope you guys find that interesting. Let me know what you think. And if you found anything else similar that you think might be good to share and let other people know, then please do leave a comment. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.